A lot of people are very concerned about the threat of terrorism. I don't think anyone here doesn't realize, with the things that are going on a daily basis in different parts of the world, even in America. I can tell you, just a few days ago when this happened in Paris, Albert Friedman from the Zeitung, he called me 3 or 4 times. I couldn't pick up the phone. And then I said, we got to get back to him. It must be very important. He's calling me so many times. And Albert Friedman said to me, when I got on the phone with him, all he wanted to know, what do you think about what happened in Paris? Now, what do you think? Of course, it's horrible, it's terrible. But I think what he was asking, and I think it's on the minds of a lot of people, we live in a world, we have faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, no question about that. But there's also an issue of what else can we do? We have to do our shtadlus. What else can we do to protect our communities? We saw what happened in Eretz Yisrael, in Har Nov. I mean, it's beyond comprehension. The kind of, I have to say, animals that we're dealing with. People are davening. People have their talis and tefillin on. There used to be an idea that a religious place is sacred. You don't go into such a place to, God forbid, whatever you're doing, not in a holy place. And we saw what happened only a short time ago. And so many other things have happened. And then we have the story in Paris. Do you know that this murderer, this terrorist, he was on his way? I don't know if he got a lot of attention, I don't know. This terrorist who ended up in the Jewish supermarket before Shabbos, when people were running to buy, whatever they needed for Shabbos, that was not his target. That was not where he had a specific location that he was going to. He had a plan. This was not Stam in the Welt, that he ended up in the Jewish supermarket of all places. He was on his way to a yeshiva, to one of the large yeshivas in Paris. That's where he was going to do terrible, terrible things. Doesn't matter. Innocent people to these animals, these radicals. There's no innocent person. Doesn't matter if it's an older person, a younger person, a man, a woman, a child, a baby. It doesn't matter. It's something that I know is on people's minds. I could read you a text that someone sent me from Borough Park talking about what's going on in different parts of the world, and it's not over. We know that. It's not over. It's not finished. This person said to me, what about Borough Park? What about Midwood? What are we doing? Is our community protected? Are our kids safe? And we all know one thing, that there's nothing, if you do everything in the world, there's no guarantee that we can protect everybody. But the question is, and I want to look at this and work with different people, we have to do the most that we can do to protect our community, to protect our schools, to protect our shuls. I don't have to tell you, we all know. We live in an open society. You can go anywhere, and God forbid those who want to do harm. I don't have to tell you. It's mamish nissim. It's nissim. Up until now, that nothing has happened. So, I'm just saying to you that we have to, I don't have the answer. If you're going to say to me, okay, what's the answer? The only thing I know is that we have to do more. We have to do more to protect our community from those who have no compulsion. They will go and murder, and the more people they murder, like I said, this person was on his way to a school with children. And you know how many weapons he had in his car. He got into an accident on the way to the supermarket. And that's how he ended up in the kosher supermarket and not in the yeshiva. It's unbelievable. So we have to I'm happy to have the opportunity to talk about this because I've been thinking about this. How can you not think about this? How can this not be on our minds? You know, our community is a community of children, of families. And the police do their part, but we have to take a closer look. What else can we do? Because the little extra that we do may make a big difference, God forbid. So that's what we need to do.
Can you elaborate a little on what you think is the problem with shuls and yeshivas? You know, there's a big debate in the community.
What the problem is, people are concerned about security, especially in light of what just happened in Paris, in the kosher supermarket, and in general. You know, we live in a very open society, and the question is, and by the way, if we do everything in the world, there's no guarantee that nothing will happen. It's impossible 100%.
But shouldn't there be basics, though?
Exactly. The question is, what more can we do? Everybody, each organization, each group, to better protect. Because we might be able to do things, you know, one of the issues is money. Where do you get money for this? There are things that can be done that are not expensive, that just require each institution to do certain things. You know, I was pointing out that what happened in the kosher supermarket, the 4 people who were murdered, Erev Shabbos, the terrorist was on his way to yeshiva. He was out to kill children and got into an accident and ended up at the kosher supermarket. So we are sitting down with a variety of people before we do anything. You know, first of all, we don't want to make people nervous. There's no reason to be nervous, but we have to be smart, we have to be prudent, and we have to plan. We have to do what we can. We have to do our hishtadlus. The police are out there. There's video cameras, surveillance cameras. It's all very, very good. But what more can we do? If someone walks into a particular shul, he walks in with a package. He looks suspicious. The police will get there in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It takes a moment, God forbid, for something to happen. So the question is examining what more we can do. Working with working with everybody, but working locally to do more than we're doing right now. By the way, there are certain, without mentioning names, there are certain schools that have a lot of security. And there are those who have very little, who hardly have any. The question is doing more. It's not about doing everything. I wish we could do everything. But you know, like someone said, you know, in Paris, they've assigned 5,000 soldiers just for the Jewish community, which, by the way, one might say that's wonderful. On the other hand, one might say, if you need 5,000 soldiers to guard the Jewish community in Paris, they might as well all move somewhere else. I mean, you're going to live like in an armed camp with soldiers all over? And how long is that going to last? So, you know, when I heard about the 5,000 just for the Jewish community, I got to tell you something. I would not want to live under such circumstances where there are soldiers everywhere. What about kids? How do kids react? Young kids, when they see this, it's not a healthy situation, and we have to do more than we're doing right now.
So you would agree with many people who are saying double lock doors, have a second defense. I mean, you can walk into a lot of shuls.
There are a lot of things that can be done that don't cost money, or cost nothing, pennies. There are other things. It'd be nice to hire a police force just to be all over the place, but that's not realistic. It's not going to happen. But there's a lot more we can do than we are doing.
Well, you'd be demanding at least the basics, an immediate change, not something over 6 months. Something by next week has to be done.
I would like to see others as well. I can tell you it's on people's mind, because I can tell you the calls that I get and the texts that I have on my phone from regular people in Borough Park who are nervous. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. It's too scary to talk about.
Well, better to talk now before, God forbid.
We got to do our hishtadlus. That's all it is. Hashem will be there for us, but we have to do our hishtadlus. That's what it's all about.